Today I'm going to be showing you how to do kinky twists on my daughter's hair. So I've done the first row and I'm going to be showing you a couple of different ways to install. I'll be showing you this way here that is more natural. Unfortunately, the more natural looking method does tend to slide a little bit. So I'm also going to be showing you how to lock in a bit more so that way it doesn't slide quite as much. I'm going to do most of hers in the natural way unless it's like just areas where I know she tends to slide quite a bit. And that way I can ensure that it looks as natural as possible and she can immediately move it in whatever direction she wants to without any tension, which is really nice. So we're going to be using the Free Tress pre-fluffed. It is 16 inches long and this is in the pop and twist. I did get it in a number 4 and she also wanted a little pop of color in there, so we're also going to add some blue. She's in her teens, so what better time to have fun than when you're unemployed. The easiest way is to get your measurements down and ensure that they're even when you're parting is just take the end of your comb and just measure your section based off the size of your comb. They do actually make combs where they'll have like measurements on there as well. You can use that. But I find that this is just the easiest way to ensure that you have a nice consistent size about your twists. In terms of thickness, my daughter already has a lot of hair. So if you'll notice, these kind of come pre-sectioned off. Instead of me going ahead and using one bundle per twist, I'm probably gonna split that into 2. That way I can accommodate for the volume that her hair naturally has and we don't end up looking wiggy when we're done, especially because this is gonna be a bit of a shorter length twist, a bit past the shoulders rather than way down the back, because again, she's early in her teens. We're not trying to have her over here looking like she's sweeping the floor with anything. Now, to ensure that it looks as natural as possible and that it looks more full, it doesn't look spacey and gapped, I'm gonna go in and bricklay these. What that means is instead of going and following my previous part lines, I'm going to specifically twist her hair falling in between the parts, and that way I can ensure that we get a nice brick-laid pattern. By the way, a wristband like this is fantastic because it allows you to easily keep that hair clipped up out of the way. These are easily sanitizable, so if you're working on someone else's hair, you don't have to worry about quite so many issues with that. Placing a little bit of braiding gel around the base, not on the scalp, but near the scalp. I'm gonna go ahead and work that through some of my fingers and comb it into the hair. So I'm gonna be using the BTL braiding gel. Of course, links to all these things will be down below. And then I'm gonna place it on that little bit of hair there, just to keep that up out of my way. I ended up deciding to start splitting this in thirds instead of in halves to have a more appropriate fullness, I think, for her hair. So the more natural method is going to look like this. By the way, this hair here twists to the right. I'm a natural to the left twister, so it can take a little bit of adjustment there, but just so that way you're kind of aware, whenever you get a new hair, check and see which way it twists before you go ahead and start. We're going to take that hair and split it in 2. I'm just going to place her hair up here at the scalp area. So I can take it and press against the head with my finger if I need to. Then from there, I'm gonna give it one turn to the left. So turn it to the left, pass over to the right. Then I'm gonna take my bottom strand and turn to the left also. That's gonna help to lock in place. And then from there, I will literally just twist. And with each time that I'm twisting, I'm going to spin my fingers this way. So to the left and then pass to the right. That's going to help to lock in place so it doesn't slide, and it's going to help that twist to stay together a little bit more neatly, so that way it gives you that very smooth rope-like appearance like that. From there, as I'm working, I'm going to go ahead and go through. As I start to feel like once we get down to the ends and her hair is sticking out, I'm going to apply a little bit more product there, and that way it just helps it to stick together a bit better. So again, twist out, pass over, twist out to the left, passing to the right. Twisting to the left, passing to the right. Just like that. Okay, getting down towards the bottom of her hair, you can kind of see some of it sticking out here. See it? So I'm going to take just a small amount of braiding gel. You don't see much of my fingers, just that little bit of shine. That's all we're going to use. I'm going to apply that to the ends of her hair. And then we just continue that pattern all the way down. The nice thing I like about this hair is you don't have to do anything special to finish it out. It ends just like that. I will probably trim off the little flyaways and it will not come unraveled from that. It makes this super easy and it saves you a ton of time because you don't have to stop and curl hair at the end. Okay, so you can see how that went there. I want you to look at how natural that looks at that scalp area. So the thing I love about this method, if you'll notice, there are no knots, no loops, nothing like that. So no matter which way you pull it, it gives a very natural fall to that hair. It's a great way to help that hair look as natural as possible while ensuring that your hair is still kind of in a way that's protected and not having to be manipulated on a regular basis. Absolutely love this technique. All right, so now I'm gonna show you how to lock this in place a bit better in case your hair tends to slide a little bit more. Maybe if you have more fine hair or hair that does not have quite as much surface texture as hers does. That way you can kind of help ensure that it stays a bit better. In her instance, I don't really need it to stay for an extremely long amount of time because her hair locks rather easily. So I don't want to put something in there that's going to be able to stay for a couple of months, because by the time a couple of months passes by, her hair is going to be locking at the root, and we just don't want that. All right, so the technique to lock in is pretty similar. It's slightly different though. So we're going to go in, and again, I'm going to place just a bit of product near the scalp, a little bit towards the ends, and I'll just apply some on the hair that I have parted and I want to come up so it does not slide into my way. I'm going to lightly distribute that through here. If the comb gets caught, then the hair has not been well enough detangled. So if your comb cannot easily pass through, please do not use this comb for that. Use a wider tool. So like, notice I'm getting down to the ends, that's catching, so I'm not even going to attempt to comb through that because that's not what that comb is for. Let me go ahead and find where it's catching at. I can separate that with my fingers, and that way I can ensure that hair is able to stay as healthy as possible. All right, so I'm gonna begin by taking that hair. We're gonna split half of that hair. The other half I'm gonna leave together. So on my left half, I'm just gonna split it into two, like so. I'll go ahead and grip that from the underneath. So basically we're gonna take that hair. We're gonna take that hair and grip it between the fingers like this, splitting my left side that way. And I'm going to turn, come on top of my fingers. So again, turn underneath, and I'm just gonna pinch like that there. We're gonna place that directly at the scalp. I'm gonna add hair into the middle strand just like I'm cornrowing. We'll go underneath, adding to my outside strand, again underneath, and we're going to go down about 1/2 inch to 1 inch in width, and then I'm just going to rejoin my two pieces that I separated. So rejoining those back together, and from there I'm going to do the same thing I did before. So twist to the outside and then pass over. Again, twisting to the outside and pass over. And what that's going to do is lock it in place a little easier up here. The downside is now you will have a knot at the base of those twists. I still leave her a little loose because I still want to ensure that she can more easily manipulate that around. If you need it more snug, you can do it more snug, but we don't play with traction alopecia over here. So I would rather her have a little bit of poofing at the roots and it look more natural than me have to worry about snatching her hair out, because that's not the vibe. Next, I'm going to show you how to handle the partings once you get up to the top of the head. So I'm going to go ahead and twist up to that point, and then I'll come back. Once we get to that rounded portion of the head there, I'm going to go ahead and start changing the way that I part, because the head is going to start curving up. So usually I like to take it by like that horseshoe section of the head here. We're going to go from that section of the head there, and instead of continuing that round, I'm going to literally start parting directly across this way. Let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and keep my same 1 inch blocking, but I'm gonna be bringing it this way now. So instead of rounding that out around the head, I'm just gonna take that straight across until we balance out and it blocks off the top portion of the head into like a rectangle here. You see that? So basically, those squares will naturally just kind of curve with it. I'm gonna come right into my previous section there. So we're basically gonna start here, and that means I'm gonna have a couple of triangular sections. That's not a big ordeal. So now basically I have my section parted off. Notice we're gonna come from essentially like the middle of my parting there, middle of my parting there, and as we're taking those corners, I'm still gonna bring those to where they fall right in between. So it's still gonna follow the same pattern, which means the fact that that's a triangle instead of a square is really not gonna stand out like that. And it allows me to have a continuation that accommodates for the fact that the head is rounding in this area. So it allows us to cut the corners a little more narrow while keeping the same width of our sections throughout like we've been doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue my pattern up this way. Then from there, once I get to that rectangular portion, we'll start parting out straight in our partings along the sides there. Okay, so we finished our 3 rows here, and I want you to see kind of how those curve. So we've got smaller sizes here. As we get towards the center, it's still the standard size, and that way it allows us to accommodate for the round of the head there by spreading out. So the same way that my fingers kind of come in like this, that's the same type of shaping we take there. Can you head up, please? Now from there, I'm gonna start taking my section straight across to match up with my part lines here, and that's how I even it out so it looks all together and all that. When it's finished, it fills out nicely and you don't even notice the change in parting in that space of the head. I hope that that helps kind of understand that a bit better, but that way you can kind of easily see how the partings shift in that area. Just like that. To finish her off, I'm going to be using the BTL mousse. This one here is in the hold level 5. It is the extreme hold to give her a little bit more control over that, so that way we're less likely to frizz. By the way, if you love tutorials like this and you'd like to see more, please feel free to subscribe, and please ensure that you click the like button if you find value in this video. I sped this part up, but it's basically just me applying this mousse. I will say it is very sticky, it's alcohol free, it's quite effective. I can never find a link online, but definitely look in your local beauty supply store for it.
I like this.
As always, subscribe for more, boo. Love you. Bye.